looks like with the little charm and the closure. I think I may have went a little too big on the pages. Maybe I could have taken like an 1/8 inch off so that they sunk down in more, but I'm good with it. So first thing we're gonna do is cover the inside here, because that definitely needs to be addressed. And I just cut some 1.5 by 2 inch paper. And you definitely want to give that a hard press, because that's going to keep your pages in. That's what secures this. It's also going to secure your closure. I'm going to do the same on the back side. And you can use the pattern side if you'd like, or the other pattern side. Okay, here we go. And of course we could have distressed that. I didn't even think about it. Okay, and now it's time to start thinking about embellishments. I have this clip that I can hang on the spine, and I think I'll just put one of these gears on it. It's a gear with a big hole. And then all I gotta do is find a loose fabric to thread it on. These clips are a little hard to manage, but they're just hard to close. If all else fails, we can always put a new piece of thread on, but I got one. Okay, so that just gives it a different texture. And then on the front, I have some fussy cut knife done, and I think I want this says time is flying, never to return. And I have another one here that says, well, I had one that said something else. Real. It says is real, but let's just cut this down. How about making it a banner? And it just says real. How about that? So I'm going to put this balloon. How about, actually, let's put this flower. And then this, I have this balloon too, let's see. This thing keeps popping up. Let's just tie it shut. There we go. That didn't do a whole lot of good. Okay. No, I like this balloon. There we go. And then let's put a gear on it, I think. That one's attached now. I have a little tube of E6000 here. I'll put this little gear. Go. And then what do you think? Oh, I forgot my title. This is purple. This is left over from the Prima book I did. That's okay. You can put a little dimensional underneath here, underneath this if you want, but there we go. Cute. And we got a little charm on the spine, giving it a little bit of interest. Okay, let's let that dry, and then let's make some tags for the inside. I have this little paper clip, and for tags, let's just use the smaller hole here. That, there's a little tag. This is one of the stickers from Hi everybody, this is Jen from Scrapping Posh, and I am here with the Artistic Studio Creations Design Team project. If you order online, be sure you ask for shipping, because there's a, when you got your cart, there's a little box that says contact store. If you push that and ask for shipping, your shipping price, if you have multiple items in your cart, will be reduced, and she'll give you the best price shipping costs possible. So when you don't get discouraged when you have a bunch of stuff in your cart and the shipping's like crazy, because that's not actual. So today we're going to make one of these tiny junk journals. I had made one for my last project, and I had some requests to do a tutorial, so this is my tutorial. What you'll need, you're going to need a scrap of chipboard, at least 1.5 inches by, we're going to cut this to 2, so you need 1.5 by 4, a piece of scrap cardstock, a paper collection, one 8.5 by 11 piece of coffee or tea dyed paper, or you can use regular notebook paper, ledger paper, whatever you want to put in it. I always have scraps left over. Here, let me show you. Like, here's my little junk journal scrap bin. So like, I have some little cut aparts. I have like page, or part of a book page. I have some, like, this would be a perfect thing to fit in there. Put that in there. So there's that. And then if you want, you can make a charm. If you do that, you'll need an eyelet. Can't get the eyelet out. And then maybe some extra, like I have these paper clips here. Fun paper clips. I have some brads. I have, like on this one, I use one of these. It's stuck there, but it can move. And then I always have like a little pile of, there's some gears, there's a little thing of beads, I have a little glass jar, you know, so just some things to stick on there. I have one of these really big brads. So, yeah, it's a junk journal. Get your junk journal stuff out. And then you'll also need either a piece of Tyvek or cloth to sew my pages on. So I have a piece of Tyvek here, and Tyvek is that paper. You can get it from envelopes. It doesn't tear because it has like cloth or something in it. Okay, and then you're gonna need a needle and some thread. So let's get started, shall we? I'll probably use like a ribbon or seam binding or something for a closure too, because this one pops up. It pops open. Okay, let's get started. We're gonna take this is already cut to 1.5 inches. It's just a scrap. And we're gonna cut that to two times. And this is gonna be the front and back of the book. That's all we need of that. And then for the spine, I'm just going to use regular scrapbook paper. This is like 65 pounds. You can use a little heavier if you have it, but we're going to like triple it up. So if you want your spine to be bigger, you can make it bigger. I'm going to cut this at 1/2 inch. And at 2 inches. Let's do 3. Because this is 65 pounds. On my last one, I only did 2, but it was thicker cardstock. It was like 110 pounds or something. So. All right. That's my chipboard cutter, so I'm not going to need that anymore. Alright. I'm going to use just regular glue to glue all these together. Did I tell you guys you needed duct tape? Duct tape or vinyl or washi tape or something like that. Preferably thick washi tape, like wide. I mean, you can always use just paper, but it's easier. So we're working in small. I'm going to trim down this side a little bit. I think I offset the papers a little bit when I glued them together. There we go. Alright. I got some new black duct tape because I lost my last black duct tape. I think somebody stole it. Like, somebody in my house stole it. Okay, so duct tape's not quite wide enough. If you use vinyl, which is what I used on my last one, you can cut a piece that's wide enough. I have some sitting right there, but not everybody has vinyl, so let's use duct tape. It is readily available. Get yourself a good chunk. Now I'm going to cut this part off here where I stretched it when I was trying to get it off of the roll. Okay. Now line your bottom up to your craft mat or something straight. Easier said than done. Come on, get off of me. Okay. And then, let's see how big I want. We're going to stick it down. And I need about at least a ½ inch. Top and bottom, bigger than your book. Okay, there we go. So if you have vinyl, just cut it big enough and skip that step. If you have washi tape, then you want to layer it, layer it, layer it until you get big enough to cover your book. Okay, now I'm going to lay my spine in the middle. And you want to leave a chipboard worth on either side of the spine. But you also need to make sure that it's straight. There we go. And now I'm going to take my scissors, trim around the outside. And like I said, you could do this with paper. It's just way easier with tape because you don't have to put extra adhesive on it, right? It's already sticky. If it would cooperate with me. Probably could have left a little bit extra. That's pretty close, but that's okay because we're going to tape down the inside. Now you cut the corners like you always do so that you don't have so much buildup in the corners. If you're worried about like seeing the corners, you can always just like permanent marker them whatever color your duct tape is. Okay. Now you do what you do on the mini albums and you just go down, down. When you get to the corners, you tuck and tuck and then fold them in, and you tuck and tuck and fold them in. Now if you wanted to do this is your base, but if you wanted to do like a rub and buff or something, you can make that copper or whatever you want. Okay, so essentially that's that. Okay, so let's do the, isn't that easy? Okay, let's do the signatures. You guys are going to be so happy with how quick this is. This needs to be cut down to 2 inches, maybe a little under 2 inches, but I'm just going to do 2 inches to match the spine. And then we'll make it, we want to make it longer because we want to have plenty of stuff to stick there. Let's make it, because the spine's only a ½ inch, and then you got like an 1/8 inch on both sides. Let's make it like 2 by 2.5. The 2.5 is going to spread this way. My paper cutter didn't like the Tyvek that much. Okay. Now, if you want, at this point in time, you can put some lace or something back here, make it look like a, oh, what are those things called? A headband, which I put in the other one, but it didn't stick out hardly at all. So let's see if I have anything in my scraps. I have this like little tiny bunch of cheesecloth, and I had here, how about this? This I have just laying here, just a scrap. So cut about a 1/2 inch of that off and then cut it in half because it's not big enough, and then just glue it here. Just add a little detail, whatever part you want sticking out of it. Here you go. And you can always trim it off afterwards. Okay, I'll give that time to dry. Okay, so now let's deal with our, whatever you want to call this, spine thing. Now, the spine itself is only a 1/2 inch. So, in the middle of this 2-inch piece, at 3/4 of an inch, I'm going to draw a straight line down. I'm just using my board to make it straight. It's not that straight though, but, and let's make this, let's make it 2 signatures. That's what my last one was. So, whoops, out of the 1/2 inch here, we want to split that in half. Well, we don't want to split it in half, we want to split it in thirds. So it doesn't have to be exact. What I'm going to do is just eyeball it. That's half. So 1/2 of a 1/2. There we go. And this one. Okay, and then we want to go this way, which we can just go, I don't know, that's like 3/4 of an inch. Oh, you know what? I got it the wrong way. 2 inches is this way. I'm gonna flip it over. Jeez, guys, you didn't tell me. Okay, so you have this 2 by 2.5. The binding is in the 2-inch side. So at, why did I make it hard for myself is the question. Halfway, you want to mark off a 1/2 inch in the middle, which that is 1/4, and that's 1/2. So I think I missed the middle, but that's okay. What I did was at 3/4, a little over 3/4, I made a mark, and then a 1/2 inch over, I made a mark. And that represents the spine here. See? Now you will see this part of the paper, so if you wanted to color that in, you can. Let's poke holes in it first so you can actually see what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to, this is a 1/2 inch. I'm going to line this up on this 1/4 inch mark and shift it a 1/2 hole. You get that? Let me zoom in here. Okay, so this is 3/4 of an inch over, and then these two are a 1/2 inch apart. So you line these up with our 1/2 inch holes, right? And shift it a 1/2 hole over. So halfway between that line and that hole. And then these 2 spots here are going to be where you want to draw your signatures. That gives you, that breaks that up into thirds for you. And then you just line your ruler up. Otherwise you can do about 1/3 of an inch. It's not life or death. It does not have to be exact. That's why I'm not measuring. I'm just kind of moving it around. Okay, and then you see it's off. That's okay. Oops, it's off. That's okay. It doesn't matter. And then we need to sew our pages in. So I'm just gonna go right about there. And just a little over 1/4 inch from the top and bottom. Alright, so there you go. Now the next thing you do is take your one piece of paper and you want to cut that into, what size should we make it? We'll do, let's go ahead and do 2 by let's do 2 by 1.5. 2 by 1.5 inch, or we're gonna have 2 by 1.5 inch pages, which means we need 2 by 3 inch squares. So cut up your paper into 2 by 3s. Alright, so I got all my paper cut, and then I pulled some of the pattern paper from the Graphic 45 Imagine collection. You can use any collection you want. I do believe Crystal still has some Imagine left. And we're going to fold all these in half. There were a couple, because it was an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and I cut them to 2 by 3s. There were a couple that were a little over 2 or 3. I'll let you know when I come to them. I think it's over 3. Yeah, no, this one. See, it's over 2, so we're going to make pockets out of those by folding that extra up. And it's a little smaller, but that's okay. And now you have a little pocket page. And you can glue the sides if you want. You don't have to, because it's going to be folded like that, so it's whatever's in there is going to stay in there. And we need a total of 2 signatures, so once I get all of them folded, I'll break it up into about half. I was going to do this one. I'm going to have to cut it down a little bit. And a couple pieces of pattern paper in there to make it interesting. And then we'll also need the collection for the front and back once we glue the signatures in. This is super fun, and I thought this one's one of those bigger ones. I fold it up to make a pocket. And you can fold it the opposite direction to have your pocket on the outside. Wouldn't this be fun to do like Christmas tree ornaments like this? Like a whole bunch of little miniature books hanging off of your Christmas tree. Oh, it'd be fun. This one's a little short. That's alright. Okay. So yeah, I went to the 8-inch cut apart and grabbed this piece, which I'm going to cut down so it fits. And then this is part of the 12-inch no, this is the 8-inch cut aparts also. And I had cut the first part, this is half a page, and I had cut that down for this book here. That Build Castles in the Air, that was the top of this. So we're going to use the bottom now. I cut it a little crooked, so I'm going to straighten that up. And that one's cut at a little under 2 inches. You can see it compared to the other pages. It's probably about an 1/8 inch short, and this one I've got to cut down to at least 2 inches. And make sure that it's not over 3. I don't want it sticking out, and it's 3 inches. So there's a couple papers for like the outside of the signatures, and then this piece. This piece I need to cut down to 2 inches. And it doesn't have to fit exactly. Alright, so now I'm going to separate my pages half and half. I gotta find that other one with pockets so I can put, there it is, put one of each of those on there. Alright, and then you just stack them inside each other. And for the ones with the pockets and your cardstock ones, you need to make sure that they're going the right way so that you don't have pockets upside down or cardstock upside down. And you can use any scraps that you have. Like I have tons. This is a great way to use scrapbook scraps. If you don't want to put any normal paper in there, you could just do scraps, scrapbook scraps. Okay, this is going to be one signature. So you end up with about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 10 pages, so 5 sheets. Or no, 10 pages, so 20 sheets in there. It is a little book. It's going to have 40 sheets of paper, 40 pages in it. 20, 40 front and back. Make sure your pockets are facing the right direction. And then you could put little tags in here. I have a feeling that this one doesn't have as much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so I'm going to borrow some of these pages. I'm going to take 2 out of here. There, now they both have 8. And then this is going to be my outside of my signature. And that is also going to help us determine which signature's which. Okay, so now I have this and my 2 signatures here, and I have it. I could do 1 or 2 things. You guys have to find something sharp to poke this with. I have an awl, which you can get at a hardware store somewhere, and I also have a brad punchy thing. This thing, you can use that too. So And here's my all. Let's try this one. I haven't used this one in a while. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is you find the middle of your signature. I'm gonna fold this on one of your lines here. It doesn't have to be exact. Unfold it back this way. Okay. Now I put the book. I put the spine there in the book, and on the two lines that we drew, which it doesn't really matter where your lines are as long as they're far enough apart. You put that in the middle in your crease. And that's why you folded this paper, so it could fit in your crease nice and neat. And you poke a hole. If you can't get that all the way through, take less pieces of paper multiple times. Make sure that your pages stay lined up. Do the second one. So that's going to be signature 2. And then you do the same for signature 1. Fold on the line. Line up all your pages. Make sure you're facing upwards. Set that down in the crease. And poke your holes. Make sure your holes stay lined up. And there you go. And that's your signature 1. And there's your holes. There's your signature 2. Now, because you're going to see this, I'm going to color it with black permanent marker. The holes are already in it, so if you would have used a fabric with a pattern on it, you wouldn't have to do that, but that's good. These will be covered. So. Alright, we're done with the box. That was all the box is for. Okay, now you take your signature or your spine, you get some thread. I got this is coat thread, I think, just a heavy duty thread. You don't want your pages falling out. And then, whoops, that's not what you want to happen. I go from the inside out, and because the pages are so short, it's just one stitch. You can put more stitches in if you want, but I find that one does just fine. Make sure that's tight, and let's see here, I'll make sure that looks right. Yep, okay. And make sure that's tight, and then you tie it in a knot. If you don't want your strings to show, like hang down, you can always If you don't want your strings to show, you can always tie it on the back side, but I don't mind mine dangling down. Getting the strings tight gets easier the more you do it, but it's still a struggle. There we go. There's one. Okay, and then I may have enough here to do the other signature. I like using a big needle because it's easier to thread. You do see the holes more though. Into the top. And right back out. To the bottom. And my thread fell through. It didn't fall through all the way, but it fell through enough. So now you get to see it again. Into the top. Sometimes that's my problem. Trying to save thread. I should just cut a new piece. I'm going to washi tape it on so I don't pull it through again. There we go. Come through the bottom. And then tie it off again. Shorter your strings, the harder it is to tie off. Alright, make sure I got everything the correct way. I have, this page is a little crooked because my hole went sideways in the spine, or in the center of that signature. That's okay. No, it's not. I'm gonna fix it. I can't stand it. You see how my hole came out the side instead of the it needs to go straight in, and then it did it again. That ought to be better. Of course, it's going to leave a giant hole in my paper now, but I would rather have that than a signature that is crooked. Alright, there we go. Alright, that's better. It's straighter. Okay. Okay, now that you got your little signatures on there, I think I have one of mine upside down. It's a bit crooked, so if you can see, if I have that closed, that's going to be a little crooked. So I'm just going to trim off part of this. The main object of this is to just keep the give the signatures purchase to glue to, so that little bit at the top's not going to hurt. Now I can put, like, I have this like little bit of cheesecloth here. I can just stick a little bit to the top and bottom of the spine, or there we go, just to give it some messiness. And then you want to let that dry completely, but while that's drying, let's decorate the front cover. First, if we're going to put a charm in it, let's go ahead and do that. So, I throw things all over the place. Just take your chomper, or however you set your eyelets, put it right in the spine. I am not going to cover my spine with anything else. I'm going to leave it black, I think. If you were going to cover your spine, you'd do it before this step. So now you have a nice little place for a charm to hang. Let's decorate the cover. I have this blue with the butterflies. I think I'm going to cut a little bit of that. This is 1.5, so let's cut 1.5 and see. That's not 1.5. Cut it at 2 or 1.25. Okay. So I have this blue. Go ahead and put that on there. I'm going to use glue because I'm not sure how the tape would react on the duct tape. I think I'm safe with glue. So here, I made a horrible mess. Let's go ahead and find something for the back. I think maybe some butterflies. So I'm just going to do 2 by 1.5, and if I have to trim it down a little bit, I will. But adding all the extra, like that, adding that duct tape to it gave it just enough And you can always take like a little piece of cut down lace and go down the corners here. Let's do a closure. The eyelash trim's not gonna be long enough. I have this white trim I got from a swap from Michelle Anderson. Thank you, Michelle. But I think it's a little too light for this. This trim I got from Judy McDowell. It's a 1970s crocheted lace trim. I also got this in a swap. It's very nice, but it's a bit too big for a closure here. Let's see what I got. Okay, so on that same package from Michelle Edmonds, I got some black twine and this black fuzzy yarn. I think we'll do that. Okay, so I'm going to just go right over the book and make sure it's going to look really long, but you have to have enough to tie. Because the book is so small, it's going to look like you have way too much fabric. I'll set those aside because I'll use them on the charm also. And then I just put glue straight across and glue those in. You want to make sure that they're pretty tight because you've got to put paper over them. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some washi tape to hold them down and kind of press them down. Now, I think we'll do a little charm, and I'm just going to do some fabrics. What do I want to call them? I'm going to do some, not textiles, well they are, but that's not what I want to say. Oh, I'll think of it in a minute. So, like there's a bunch of those that need to be put in there and this little tiny hole, so I'm just going to use this piece of thread as a needle threader or an eyelet threader. You just loop it in there like this, and then you see how it's, you see how the thread is looped through there? Now just like a needle threader, you put your textiles through here, and then pull it through. Easy way to thread your fabrics through. And then I just tie it in a knot. You can always thread this through here. And you can tie it in a knot if you want. I think I'll do that just in case. Because if it comes undone, you can't get it back. Okay, and now let's cut it to length. Oh, I lost that one. That's okay. I like the white eyelet, or the eyelace trims. That's what I was trying to think of. Because it reminds me of like Tina Turner's hair in Mad Max. Okay. So I'm going to save the ones that are long enough. And now that this is dry, we can glue this in. Now, if you have a front, which this is my front, you want to make sure that you get the pages in the right way. And then you want to cover on either side of the spine with glue. That is going to be way too much glue. That's smooth that out. Don't put it on your spine. That's going to be nothing there, okay? And then you line up your spine. Glue on that somehow. Line up your spine with your book pages. And press it in there. And I'm just pressing on the either side of the pages. If you have a clip to clip this up, will be a good time to use it. Thought I had one, but I don't know where it is. So I'll just use this paper clip I made for the other one. There we go. And you let that dry. You want to make sure that it's dry. It's not going to move. You let that sit until it's all dry. Okay, and I think I'll use this ticket that I got from Judy from a swap. And let's thread these little tags with some of this embroidery or baker's twine. Just find stuff to tuck in the little pockets that we made. Of course, you can always do like little printables and stuff like that. And this guy's not staying on. Let's staple him. I may want to use a tiny attacher. Not a lot of... There we go. He'll stay on now. Okay, so I got a couple tags. Let's do another... about one of these stamps? Just back it on black cardstock. And then let's take, I'm horrible at cutting straight, you guys. Make another little tag here. There we go. Got some things to stick in our pockets now. Alright, the front is pretty dry. So, I'll go through here. And then leaves these strings. I am going to cut them down just a little bit because they're a bit long for the size of the book. I like the messy look. Okay, there's some of these scraps. Let's put this little tag. Another folder pocket here somewhere. There he is. I'll put this in there. Little tag here. And there's this one. Oh, I got that one. Where did it go? There's another little pocket here somewhere. There it is. Okay. That tag in there. And then let's just put a butterfly here. And I have this little boat that I cut out. Let's put him on the back page. And then this little black tag will just clip to one of the pages. There we go. Add some interest, and then this little die cut that I have, I can just fold that in half and I'll stick it in one of the pockets with the other tags. I'll stick it in here with this crochet thread. And then we can't have a mini album without some lace. I'm going to cut, we're just going to do one per signature, so just 2 pieces. Oops. And I'm going to use Fabri-Tac, which you could have used Fabri-Tac for everything. I find that I go through my Fabri-Tac really fast, so I try to use it sparingly. And I'm just going to take one of the coffee dyed papers, run a bead of glue along it. And keep it separate from the rest of the book so it does not stick. And I'll do this side here. Same thing. Just run that bead of glue along there. Put this little, oops. There we go. Now we have some lace along the edge of the page. Okay. And then, what else do we want to do? Oh, while that's drying, we're going to make some tabs with washi tape. So you can get a small piece of washi tape. I'm just using this rose gold, and pick one of your pages and you put it halfway, well not quite halfway over one side, and you just fold it over. Zoom in here. You just have that, and you just fold it over, and you leave some sticking out so that it's like a little tab. See? I'll get another one. Put it over here, and you fold it in half. There's that one, and I got a different one here. And you can really customize, I mean, it's washi tape. I think everybody has, well, not everybody, but everybody that I know in the scrapbooking community has way too much washi tape. Too much being a relative term, of course. There we go. And let's do one on the top here. Oh, my scissors are stuck to my Fabri-Tac. Just the same way on the top as you did the side. And just fold it over. Alright, and my lace is still drying, so I'm going to be careful. And then let's go ahead and put a sticker on the back, I think, because the front's pretty much done. Let's put a sticker on the back. How about this Achieve sticker here? Or, you know what, better yet, let's use this that we cut off, and then to add interest, let's put some lace under it. So I'm just, this piece of lace that I had sitting around, let's do that. And then I have some eyelash trim sitting here, the white that I forgot to put on the spine. Let's use some of that. Alright, so we'll take our Fabri-Tac again. And I'm just going to go over the middle part, just big enough for that paper. I'm going to put the eyelash trim in a big circle, and I'll put the lace on top of that. There we go. Make sure that's down good. I think I need some, I think I'll add a little glue because I layered those laces on top of each other. No, only a small part of that lace is. Alright, and then glue this down. Time is flying, never to return. Alright, that's nice for the back of our book. Alright, and there you have it. We've made a mini junk journal. I hope you guys, whoops, sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed this, I forgot to zoom out. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. Go to Artistic Studio Creations and see what kind of graphic 45 they have. I will link it in the box below in the description. And we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.